When financial celebrities recommend books, they are rarely offering a reading list meant to impress or overwhelm. They are revealing the intellectual tools that shaped how they think about risk time and human behavior. These books recur across interviews, shareholder letters, and private conversations, not because they are fashionable, but because they continue to hold up under pressure. What makes them powerful is not the information they contain, but the way they rewire judgment. When you read what the world's most successful investors read, you are not borrowing their strategies, you are borrowing their mental framework. One book that appears again and again in the background of legendary investors is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Warren Buffett has called it the best book on investing ever written, and that praise is not casual. Graham's work is not about finding winners. It is about surviving error. The concept of margin of safety runs through the book like a quiet moral code, teaching readers to assume they will be wrong and to structure decisions so that being wrong is not fatal. Financial celebrities return to this book not for formulas, but for its insistence on humility in a probabilistic world. Another work frequently cited is Security Analysis, also by Graham, written with David Dodd. While denser and more technical, it shaped generations of investors by forcing them to think in terms of intrinsic value rather than price excitement. Many financial icons credit this book with training their discipline early, even if their later styles evolved. It is less a manual than a rite of passage, teaching patience, skepticism, and the willingness to do unglamorous work, while others chase momentum, moving from valuation to behavior. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman is often recommended by investors like Ray Dalio and Charlie Munger. This book explains why even intelligent people make systematic errors, especially under uncertainty. Its exploration of cognitive biases resonates deeply with financial professionals because markets exploit these biases relentlessly. Financial celebrities value this book because it does not promise improvement through intelligence, but through awareness, and awareness is often the difference between discipline and self-sabotage. Closely aligned with that theme is Poor Charlie's Almanac, a collection of Charlie Munger's talks and writings. This book is not structured like a traditional guide, yet it is treasured by many elite investors for its emphasis on mental models and multidisciplinary thinking. Munger's insistence on understanding incentive psychology and second-order effects has influenced how countless financial leaders evaluate decisions beyond spreadsheets. It teaches that wisdom is built by integrating ideas across fields, not by mastering one narrow technique. For understanding markets as complex systems rather than machines, Mania's Panics and Crashes by Charles Kindleberger is frequently recommended. This historical examination of financial bubbles reveals how human emotion repeats across centuries, regardless of technology or regulation. Financial celebrities value this book because it provides context. It reminds them that extreme events are not anomalies, but features of markets driven by fear and greed, and that forgetting history is one of the most expensive mistakes an investor can make. On the topic of randomness and humility, Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Nicholas Taleb appears often in the reading habits of hedge fund managers and professional traders. The book challenges the reader to question success skill and attribution in environments dominated by chance. Financial celebrities recommend it because it attacks ego directly, forcing readers to confront how often outcomes are misinterpreted. It trains skepticism toward narratives of genius and reinforces respect for risk. Another Taleb work. The Black Swan is also commonly cited. Its focus on rare high-impact events resonates strongly with investors responsible for large pools of capital. Financial icons appreciate this book not because it predicts crises, but because it reshapes how they think about fragility and resilience. It encourages preparation for what cannot be, forecast a mindset that aligns closely with how the most durable fortunes are preserved. From the world of macro and reflexivity. The Alchemy of Finance by George Soros is often mentioned by investors seeking to understand how markets influence fundamentals and vice versa. While not universally agreed with, it is widely respected for its honesty about fallibility. Financial celebrities recommend this book because it normalizes doubt and adaptation, showing that even legendary success is built on constant revision rather than rigid belief. For a longer-term, almost philosophical perspective, the Essays of Warren Buffett, curated by Lawrence Cunningham, is frequently cited as essential reading. Rather than presenting new ideas, it compiles Buffett's thinking over decades, revealing how consistency, patience, and ethical clarity compound alongside capital. Financial celebrities value this book because it demonstrates how principles can remain stable even as markets evolve. It is a study in long-term coherence. Finally, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. While more modern, has quickly entered the canon of books recommended by elite investors. Its strength lies in simplicity. It explains that financial outcomes are shaped less by intelligence and more by behavior, luck, and time. Many financial celebrities appreciate this book because it articulates truths they learned through experience in language that is accessible yet profound, reinforcing the idea that emotional control is the ultimate edge. Taken together, these 10 books form a kind of intellectual spine shared by financial celebrities across generations. They are not about getting rich quickly. They are about thinking clearly when others cannot, staying patient when others rush, and protecting downside so that time can do its quiet work. And it is precisely here, when reading shifts from consumption to calibration, that these books reveal their deepest value, because they do not teach you what to buy or sell. They teach you how to remain rational in an environment designed to pull you away from rationality. And this is where the list itself fades into something more enduring as the mindset behind it continues to unfold. Because once these books are absorbed as ways of thinking rather than sources of tips, their real influence begins to show up in daily decisions. The second half of this reading list is not about adding more titles, but about understanding why these particular books stay on the shelves of financial celebrities while thousands of others are forgotten. What unites them is not style era or ideology, but durability. Each of these works continues to make sense when markets change, when strategies fail, and when confidence is tested. One clear pattern is that none of these books promise control. They all assume uncertainty as a permanent condition. Graham teaches you to live with error. Kahneman shows you how your mind will betray you under pressure. Taleb warns that the most important risks are invisible until they are not. Buffett demonstrates that patience outperforms brilliance. Financial celebrities return to these books because they do not collapse when optimism fades. They become more relevant precisely when conditions are hardest. Another shared trait is that these books reward rereading. Early in a career, the intelligent investor may feel dry and conservative. Later, after experiencing drawdowns and regret, it reads like a survival manual. Thinking fast and slow initially feels academic, but after years of emotional mistakes, its lessons feel painfully practical. Financial celebrities often mention that the same book taught them different lessons at different stages of life. This is a critical insight. The value of a book is not fixed. It grows as your experience grows. There is also a notable absence in this list. Very few of these books are about tactics. None are about hot stocks, timing tricks, or short-term forecasts. Financial celebrities do not read to feel clever. They read to stay grounded. The books they recommend slow them down. They challenge assumptions. They reinforce restraint. In a world where speed is celebrated, these books act as anchors. Another deeper lesson emerges when you look at how these books interact with one another. Graham provides the foundation of safety. Buffett adds patience and ethics. Munger adds multidisciplinary thinking. Kahneman explains cognitive failure. Taleb explains randomness and fragility. Kindleberger supplies historical repetition. Soros introduces reflexivity and fallibility. Housel humanizes it all. Together, they form a complete mental ecosystem. No single book is sufficient. The power comes from how they correct and balance one another. Financial celebrities do not read these books to agree with them blindly. In fact, many disagree with parts of Taleb, or Soros, or even Graham. That disagreement is the point. These books sharpen judgment by forcing confrontation with uncomfortable ideas. They train investors to hold multiple perspectives at once without rushing to resolution. This capacity for intellectual tension is one of the most underrated skills in finance, and it is precisely what these books cultivate over time. Perhaps the most important takeaway from this list is how it redefines learning. Learning is not framed as progress towards certainty, but as protection against self-deception. These books help investors avoid the most dangerous mistakes: overconfidence narrative, addiction, and impatience. Financial celebrities recommend them not because they guarantee success, but because they reduce the likelihood of catastrophic failure. In finance, avoiding ruin is the first and most important form of success. When you step back, the list of recommended books becomes less about what to read and more about how to read. Slowly, repeatedly, critically, with humility. These books are not meant to be consumed once and shelved. They are meant to be lived with, argued with, and returned to when markets test your discipline. And so the true value of the top books, recommended by financial celebrities, is not that they teach you how to make money, but that they teach you how to think when money, ego, and uncertainty collide. They help you build an internal compass that does not spin wildly with every market cycle. When that compass is strong, strategies can change, markets can evolve, and fortunes can fluctuate without destroying clarity. That is why these books endure, and why financial celebrities keep recommending them long after their own success no longer depends on reading anything new at all.